God. Like when you set a goal and you're like, I'm committed. I am doing this. I want this. I know I can do it. And you're like, start walking it out. And then bam, you get knocked back down. Do you know what that's like? I'm assuming you do, because it happens to every single one of us. Some of us just don't understand that it's part of the process. And so, yay, I do see you, Mion. I do love it. We got Wendy in the house, Kinsey in the house. Love it. So that's where I've been. These workshops, because I literally allow myself to get into the trenches with you for a minute. And I have to really protect my mental health in this time because I'm an empath. And one of the things, if you did not know this is one thing I have learned. If you are an empath and you feel all the feelings, for a long time, I didn't know there was a word for that. I just knew that when there's a lot going on in the world, it hurts me. Like I feel those emotions. I'm the girl that can go to a funeral and the people that should be crying because they're really close to the person that died, like they're comforting me because I'm an emotional basket case. And it used to be super, super frustrating to me because I am there to comfort them, right? And I didn't understand. I'm like, Melissa, get it together. Well, I didn't realize that was kind of like, that's how God made me. He made me that way for a purpose. And so I've recently, probably over the last 18 months, realized the connection between being an empath or an empath, however you want to say it, feeling all the feelings, being able to really, it's like I'm literally in your shoes. When you're talking to me, like I feel it. I feel your burdens. Like it hurts my heart. And in a bigger way than just, if you're not an empath, you aren't going to understand this. But if you are who I'm talking to right now anyway. You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, I recognize this connection between that and being an intercessor in prayer. So to intercede is like God's goal for me in that. Like I can feel those emotions and my job is not to hold on to it or take it on or, try to be your savior. But my purpose in that is to pray and release it to God for you. And so that was like a huge aha for me because so many times I would carry it and and hold on to it. And I had to get super intentional and recognize that that's not my job. My job is to kind of take some of that off of you. And then I can't hold on to it. I am to pray and give that to God because he is the one that can do something about it. I can't. I'm human. God is God, right? And so if you feel that you are an empath or a feeler, you can call it whatever you want, but if you are it, you are most likely called to intercede on the behalf of others. And so you aren't supposed to hold on to it. You're supposed to surrender it and give it to God so God can do with it because we aren't God. And so many times I missed that piece. And if I'm not careful, I still miss that piece because I want to help everybody. But in helping everyone, first of all, I can't. God didn't call me to that. He sent Jesus here. And Jesus died for us so that we can be in relationship with him. And so that's not my job. And so it's just this constant laying it down. And so that's where I've been today. I have a lot of things going on in my life, as you probably do as well. And I want you to know that just because you have a lot of things going on in your life does not mean you can't continue to work towards your goals. Truth, I laid in bed till 10:30 this morning. I did. I woke up at 7:30. I could tell my blood pressure was up and it was really, really high. And I have built a business so that I can protect my morning hours, like my morning routine, how it's super important to me. Like I block time off in the morning so that I have time for self-care. And today, like I could tell my blood pressure was up really high. I could tell that like I was just struggling. I can feel it in my face, all the things, and you can probably see it, like, all right here, here. Anyways, I had to take care of myself this morning. And so I was going somewhere with that, but I don't know where. But I know that if you are in that place, I want you to know that me sharing this isn't because I'm like, oh, poor me. Mm-mm. And for the record, a lot of times the reason you don't talk about your struggles is because you don't want people to be like, oh, poor you. You're like, I don't need sympathy. Although sometimes we do need to be able to be like, I need help. But for the most of the time, like when, especially as we are healing or walking in something and God wants to use our story, we won't want to share our story because we feel like people will be like thinking that we want pity. No, that's not why I'm sharing this. I don't need pity. Like I'm fine. It's a hard day, but it's fine. I'm worried about my sister, the one who yesterday, if you were here, called me a million times. Well, turns out she is stranded in Madison, Indiana, and has went through a ton of money, and she has mental health issues, and basically she's stranded. And there is nothing really right now that I can do. She's not even returning my calls, blah, 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 blah. But that's like stress. And so I prayed about it today. I'm like, God, can I help her? Is there anything I can do? There actually is some things I can do. So I'm working on that. But I just want you to know that resistance comes, spiritual warfare. Like if you're going to be attacked, it's going to be when you start walking out your goals. That's not to scare you. That's to prepare you. Hear me again. Someone put that in the comments because that was good. It's not to scare you. To talk about the resistance and spiritual warfare, it's not to scare you. It's to prepare you. Because when you can be proactive and intentional and look for that, you can start doing what I call circling the wagon. You start getting your things in order. What can you do to protect yourself, protect your family, protect your finances, protect everything else I forgot to mention. So important as you are living out, especially those big dreams, those big callings, the big thing God is calling you to do that scares you so much that you can't say it out loud. Like you've got to start circling the wagon. And so if you don't have a goal yet, my guess is that's a good place to start. You want to start circling the wagon on those things. You can go to my website, melissabat.com. There's a freebie on there that talks all about circling the wagon. It's about that audit, like auditing your life and assessing like where are the cracks in your business, in your life, if you're married, in your marriage, in your relationships, in all of the things. Where are the cracks? Because the cracks are the first place that the enemy will target. He will target those cracks because there's already a crack there. It's going to be much easier to get in there and wreak havoc. And so being prepared and looking for those things really help. I also talk a lot about like what to do. And like when you are like, you need to have a battle plan. You can find that on my blog. I'm not going to talk about that today, but if you go to melissabat.com/blog, all of it, if you just go to melissabat.com, you'll be able to scroll through and find it. We are in the process of doing an overhaul on my website, but it's not done yet. So you're just going to have to bear with what it is now, but you need to have a battle plan, and you can find out all about that. It's actually a really good call out for me to share that in here again, because if you take this commitment, the 12-week challenge, that's called the Breakthrough Challenge. If you join me for the Breakthrough Challenge, like the enemy is going to come. And his job is to steal, kill, and destroy. And so he's gonna target those things. And you aren't going to be able to change it all overnight. But when you can start being intentional, you can do amazing things. And it's just about being prepared and noticing when you're looking for it. Doesn't mean you focus like all your energy on this. That's called anxiety. You don't want to do that, but you want to be mindful and looking and assessing for damage at all times and just kind of getting things in order. When I think about Circle the Wagon, I think of like the Old Town. Who played that game, Oregon Trail? How old are y'all? Do you remember the game Oregon Trail? I played it on a computer in school when I was in probably elementary. I was born in 1980. It was like the first computer game I ever played. It was called Oregon Trail. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? If so, tell me in the comments. So on Oregon Trail, that game, like there's these like old pioneerish wagons. And so like I think of that, and you gotta go around and like look around. It's like, okay, are things falling out? Are things falling out of your wagon? And some of that, like, listen, for me, it was my kids. I'm telling you a little bit of my story. Wasn't planned, but I'm going to tell you. I have more than one child that struggles with anxiety. I had a kid that was really fighting depression, so much so that like I was looking for notes. It was really bad. Like one time I thought I found a note from him that like, this was it. He was going to end his life. So when I tell you we got to circle the wagon, like these are the things that we've just got to start paying attention to, because if I wasn't paying attention, I would have missed a lot of warning signs. He's much better now and a really good place. Sometimes things happen and I am like, go back to that worrying mama. Well, worry is a problem for me, but you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not looking for notes currently. But that was something I struggled with. Being able to have an open dialogue with my kids instead of just going through the motions. It's why I'm so passionate about not going through the motions. When you are just on autopilot on that hamster wheel, doing the same thing over and over again, it's not serving you. And that is when you aren't recognizing these cracks. My nose is itching again. Anyways, I just want you to be mindful of these kind of things. And so as we move forward, I want you to really look at that and assess. Moms don't sleep. We worry with our eyes closed. Okay, so when my oldest started going, he started working late nights, and sometimes he wouldn't get home until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. This was like last year. Originally, I would try to stay up and wait for him to get home. And my friend was like, she said something to me that was just mind blowing. She had older children. And so she had learned this, and it was so good. She said, you've got to get some sleep, because no matter what, like if he makes it home or if he doesn't make it home, there's nothing you can do about that right this moment. And you're going to need sleep. If he makes it home, you have things you got to do the next day. You have to be prepared for that. You've got to be ready and prepared, blah, blah. If he doesn't make it home, you're going to need to be aware of that as well. And so that right there just set me free from like, okay, I'm just going to sleep. I don't need to stay up worrying about my kid all night long. Go to sleep. They are old enough. I'm trusting God. God is going to look out for them. If something was to happen, someone's going to see it. They're going to call for help. They're going to find him, blah, 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 blah. So I don't know if anyone else needs to hear that, but that was a huge gift that my friend gave me and set me free from staying up all night, which is great because there for a while, he worked a shift that he didn't get home until like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so back on track, okay? Prepare for the resistance, friends. Just pray. Prepare for the resistance because it's going to come no matter what. Whether you're in your goals or you're not in your goals, the resistance is coming. But you are victorious through Christ who gives you strength to conquer all of it. Because when Jesus died on the cross and rose again, like the enemy was defeated. But you have to be willing to fight and do these things. You can't just you have an active role, basically, is what I'm saying. Okay, so now I'm 20 minutes in. Woo. I'm going to go back through. We're going to talk a little bit about this, how to determine your goal. I want you to really think about the first thing. If you're in survival mode, we talked about that yesterday. Go back and watch that. Today, I really want to talk about, like, if you have a goal, I want you, or you think you have a goal, or you have this idea of something you want to do, first of all, write it down. Write it down. There's a verse in Habakkuk, which I love. I can't remember it off. Holy shoot. Look, right there. Habakkuk 2, verses 2 through 3. That's the verse. I thought I had it written down, but I don't. It just says that. And it says write it on a tablet. And that's the part I remember. That's terrible. That's terrible. I thought it had the whole verse, but it doesn't. But it's Habakkuk 2, verses 2 through 3. Write it on, like, if you have a vision or something like that, write it on a tablet. And then, like, something about herald, which I never realized till I'm saying this out loud. Like, it sounded like a bird, but I'm like, is that a herald? I don't know. Anyways, it's a really good verse. Go check it out, okay? And write it down. Once you write it down, you have to ask yourself, like, okay, well, do I know how to do that? Where can you start? Start with what you know. When I first started going, like, I wanted to create a nonprofit. If I wanted to create a nonprofit, I had no clue what I was doing. And so I had to, and I talked about this for 10 years. And my one friend, Bethany, said to me one day, she said, Melissa, you've been talking about this for 10 years. Are you any further today than you were then? And the answer was no. And so I had to check myself before I wrecked myself, because that's really bad for my health. And then I I got to do something. What did I know to do? It did not even make sense. Like, the Real Talk Tribe community at the time, based on, and that's the group you're in right now, that at the time did not even make sense when it came to the nonprofit I wanted to start. But I knew, like, I'd prayed about it, and that was the one thing I knew I could do. And so I was like, okay, well, I know how to make a Facebook group. I used to be in direct sales. Like, I am good in social media. I'm good in getting people to engage and serving people and all of that stuff. And so I created this group. This group is absolutely a part of the nonprofit when it's time. And so you caught it, Mian. So ADHD, it gets me every time. Yes, that's it. Write the vision, make it plain on the tablets, and he who reads it may run. Yeah, that's way better. I knew that write the vision, make it plain, write it on a tablet kind of thing. And then something about someone running or flying off with it. That's where I got a little confused this morning. Okay, so start with what you know. Where can you start? If you don't know where to start with circling the wagon. It's a great place to start. You need to do it regardless of your goal. And so that is a great place to start. And some of the areas, again, go to that freebie. It has all of these on there, but like your health, your relationships, your finances, your home. Those are the 4 big ones that I talk about, and then your faith should be one in there as well. But like, I talk about how all of those things, like, some of you might be like, your home, like, what does that have to do with anything? Well, there is I knew this because, I don't know, I just knew it. Like, I don't know if God told me or what, but I knew without seeing the statistics that clutter and an untidy home creates, like, I mean, it is not good for your mental health. It's connected to depression and anxiety, and it robs you of your peace. And so I knew that I needed to declutter my home. I needed to make it a space. It didn't have to cost a lot of money, but I needed to make it a space that brought peace. I am a homebody. I spend a lot of time at home. Therefore, I needed it to be a piece that I could enjoy. For example, I need bright light. I cannot stand a dark house. My husband knew when we were moving, like he looked at houses before I looked at houses, and he knew like if it was dark and didn't have a lot of natural sunlight coming in, it was a no. Can't do it. I need a lot of light. And so whether the light has to come from the windows or you just got to paint it. Like I know some people that keep their shades drawn all the time. Their blinds are closed, their curtains are closed. They got wood paneling in their house and barely have a light on. It's dark all the time. I can't. Like I'm the girl that turns every single light on in the house when I am going through it because I cannot stand a dark house. I need light. I need bright. I need it gives me peace and really, really affects my mental health. And so an untidy home states depression and not proud or happy in your private space. Yeah, absolutely. And so I really want you to look at that. Also think about like, are there some, if you own your home, are there some things that you've been ignoring that like you could truly have like some leaky pipes, and that is going to rot out your floor. Are there some things that you've been neglecting there? Or there are areas that, whether you just declutter or you put some fresh paint, you just find something at Goodwill that just brings you joy, like having a space that you feel at peace in is so important for me. It was like bright. I needed to make it my home. Even when we were in housing, we moved to an apartment after we sold our house, and I didn't know how long we were going to be there. And so originally, like I wasn't putting I was like, this is temporary. I am not going to spend time or energy, effort, or money decorating this house because I don't plan on being here long. Well, 6 months later, we're still there. And I mean, it was wreaking havoc on my mental health. And finally I was like, okay, we got to get this, like, I got to get this place in order. I went on and hung a couple pictures. I didn't go all out like I would normally, but I did some things because I knew I may not be here long term, but I'm here now. And if I'm going to be here now, I need it to be a space that I can live and thrive in. And so I want to give you permission for that as well. Okay. So your home, your health, if you haven't made a doctor's appointment in forever, you've been putting that off. You've been putting off getting your eyes checked or your ears checked. Listen, I don't know if you know this, but I actually had to go get hearing aids because my hearing is really bad and I didn't want to do it. I was in avoidance mode. I didn't want to believe that I would need that. It runs in my family. Everyone in my family has it. And I'm like, not me. Ain't going to happen. Well, guess what? I finally went and I really thought they were just going to pull out a hunk of wax and I was going to be good to go. And nope, they said, you're going to need hearing aids. And so that's something that I didn't want to believe, but I can't imagine my life now without them because I can hear the birds, all the things, although I don't have them in right now because I forgot them inside. Let's not talk about that. Okay. Money again, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, we got to figure out a way to get you to not have to do that. Hold on. All of a sudden, I feel like my allergies are getting really bad. I don't want you to have to live paycheck to paycheck. So can you eliminate some expenses? Can you downsize? Listen, I didn't want to downsize either, but downsizing was like a breath of fresh air after I did it. I did feel like it was taking a few steps backwards and I had to wrestle with that and be like, okay, like I had to swallow my pride and be like, it's not worth my peace. And so we downsized. And the house that we're in now is half the size and half the paycheck. And I didn't even know I needed that at the moment, but I knew that I needed something. I talked about this yesterday. So go check that out. Okay. So now I'm going to, like, those are just some ideas on figuring out what your goals are. Like, what do you want? What do you want in your marriage? What do you want in your relationships? What do you want the relationship to look like with your kids? What are you willing to do for it? And write that down. Writing that down, and then look at it every day and be like, am I living to be able to do this or have this or whatever? And if the answer is no, you got to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Okay. So now I want to get into this plan, the strategy, this goal setting strategy that's totally different than anything I've ever done before. And listen, again, if you're a fly by the seat of your pants girl, I'm with you. I was too. The fact that I've been doing this and teaching this is kind of crazy. Excuse me. All right. So 3 tips for this. And again, we're going to talk about this more. It's based on the book by Brian Moran. It's called The 12-Week Year. It's a great book. I'm going to give you the Cliff Note version of it, and I'm going to be teaching it in more depth if you join the Breakthrough Challenge. But I'm going to give you the general areas. Why try this plan? 1, less time to procrastinate. 2, not enough time to forget your goals. 3, less distractions. 4, shorter time span to measure your results. Okay. 5, must execute or you will not move the needle. I'm going to stop counting because I have bullet points in my notes and I'm going to have to start going 1, 2, and counting the dots. Next, anything can be done for a short period of time. How many of you, like, I know that's a hard one and something I say to myself all the time. Like, if I'm going through hard things and doing hard things, I'm like, I can do anything for a short period of time. I can do anything for a short period of time. This also narrows your focus to the week and the day. You're less likely to give up for the entire year because you will start over in 12 weeks. So this is the reason why you should think about doing the goal strategy that goes with Brian Moran's book, The 12-Week Year. I'm calling it 12 Weeks to Success because I've made enough tweaks to it that it's not quite the same, but it's really close. Okay, so here are some tips now that I told you why you should do this or keep watching for doing this. Tip 1, create the plan and focus on the simple action steps, aka baby steps. Your task list should be the highest priorities based on your goal. Okay. And so a lot of times, like example, Mian, I think it was you who said you wanted to start a nonprofit. Hold on, because I got windows open and my papers are going to start flying. I think it was you that said you wanted to start a nonprofit. If I'm wrong, I'm talking to whoever said they want to start a nonprofit. You might be like, well, I don't know I don't know where to start. That's a huge thing. Well, think about what you can do right now. What do you know how to do? So that you can, maybe it's just start talking about it. Maybe it's building an audience. Maybe it's starting to network and grow those connections. Maybe it's just talking to people who have started a nonprofit so you can learn from them. Maybe it's shadowing someone who has a nonprofit so you can serve and learn at the same time. Lots of different things that you can do if that is your goal. So let's say that is something that you want to do. So then you can look and be like, okay, what are some things? No more than 3 goals. For the very first challenge, if you are not going to be working with me, I would say 1 goal only. Only because this last time I offered it, we had a free version and we had a gold and platinum version. And the gold and platinum, they got more access to me. And I noticed the ones that did it for free that had more than 1 goal, they didn't do so well. And I think that's because it became overwhelming. Oh, it was you, Mary. I'm so sorry. I totally messed that up. So I want you to really think about one only if you're going to do the free version, or do this on your own without me. If you're doing it with me, you can have 2 to 3 goals, but I would not do 3 unless you plan on like talking to me on a regular basis about it, because I'm going to help you kind of keep from getting that overwhelm. All right. So, tip number 2, this is key. And I'm not like, this actually comes from his book. And so I'm not saying this because I want you to pay me, but I'm telling you this because this is the biggest problem that I see with those who create a goal. Like what happens is like when you aren't creating a goal, it's not normally because the goal is wrong or your action steps are wrong. It's a lack of action. And so many times we change or derail from the plan when really we just need to tweak it. Okay. And so tip number 2 is do not change the plan until you schedule a call with me to go over the plan, no matter how hard it seems to be. Most likely it isn't the plan that's the problem. You're probably skipping steps. You must identify the problem to move forward. So again, you're probably like, if you are stuck and you're like, I'm just not doing it, it's not working. No, like don't quit, don't give up. You need to schedule a call and be like, what's wrong? Why is this not working? There's a disconnect somewhere, right? And we got to figure out what that disconnect is. Tip number 3. Some days you will not feel like doing your tasks. Try to create easy systems for hard days. Don't miss 3 days in a row. Look at your vision, goal, and task list every day to keep it top of mind. Because the biggest thing that I see when it comes to goal setting is people set a goal and then they forgot they ever set the goal because they are not looking at it. It's not front and center every day. When I was in direct sales and I knew that I wanted to promote, I actually had the career path cut out and on my refrigerator. I literally looked at that sucker every single day and was like, okay, where am I at? Where do I want to go? What do I need to do? Over and over and over. Those are the 3 questions I asked. Where am I at? Where do I want to go? Maybe where do I want to go? Where am I at? What do I need to do? Someone put that in the comments because that's really good too. Where do you want to go? Where are you at? What do you need to do? That right there, keeping that front and center is so, so important when it comes to goal setting, because then you can't forget. And raise your hand, put something in the comments, say yes if you have ever set a goal and forgotten about it. And then someone mentions it later. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot I did that. I forgot I was going to do that. Totally forgot. Oops. How did that happen? Life. Because when you start working towards a goal, life is going to come. We call that resistance. Okay. Also know the vision. Can you hear my allergies getting so bad as I'm talking this out? Like now I feel like my nose is running. I'm starting to cough. I feel like I can't breathe. This is a quote from Brian Moran himself. He says, the more personally compelling your vision is, the more likely it is you will act upon it. It's your personal vision that creates an emotional connection to the daily actions that need to take place in your business. Now, the way I do this challenge is it doesn't have to be business. It can be, maybe you want to lose 10 pounds. Losing 10 pounds is not the goal, or it shouldn't be the goal. What the goal should be is like, or the vision of it is really like, you want to feel better, right? If your vision is you just want to lose 10 pounds, no. Like, why do you want to feel better? Did you, like, for me, this weekend, the kids, we took the kids to a fall festival. I don't know if it was this weekend or last weekend. And Emmeline wanted to ride this thing and Eric got in it. And I probably could have fit. I kind of deal with a lot of body image issues. And so like, I was afraid that I wouldn't fit. And so I didn't even attempt to do it. I made Eric do it, which Eric struggled because a lot of it, like, I mean, it was like adults were in there, but it was not easy. And I don't want to feel so insecure in myself that I won't try. Like, I'm so insecure, like with my body image and stuff. Like, I wouldn't want people looking at me trying to get into this little seat. Eric didn't mind it. He's confident, like, I want that. Like, that's this tangible, feelings are connected. And so, like, if that is your vision, like, you don't want to feel like that. Or, when your kids ask you to play tag and you're too tired, like, that's part of the vision. And so you need to know the vision and where you want to go, and let it be emotional. Don't be afraid to dig into the emotion side of it. So many times we want to protect ourselves from that because normally it's not an easy thing to think about. And so we're like, nope, not getting close to that. You stay at the surface level. I want to ask you to go a little deeper into the feelings of it and why you want it. If you want to focus on getting out of debt. Now, again, your goal will not be to get out of debt. Maybe it is to build an emergency fund, get your first $1,000, or if that seems too big, you may need a smaller goal. Again, we're working on 12 weeks. So you're going to break that big goal, the big vision of where you want to go. You're going to break that down into a lot smaller goals. Like, what is possible in 12 weeks that is doable, but like a little hard, right? And if you're working with me, it can be a little bit more hard. If you're not working with me, I'm going to tell you, like, just for the first one, be very, like, the goal is to build momentum with this, and you need to build momentum. And so don't set yourself up for failure and not have anyone speaking life into you and helping you know that you can keep going. Okay. You won't get as far, but you'll still be closer than what you were before. Does that make sense? Okay. So the vision is very, very important. So here is kind of how the strategy works. Number one, you're going to focus on the vision, connect the emotion, your faith, life, and business in order to determine what you want and where you want to go. Use your vision to specify and craft that goal. Again, like, I feel like I've given you enough examples. If you have questions, definitely let me know because I want to help you through this, and I don't want to skip ahead. I've taught this for a really long time. So sometimes, because I've taught it so many times, I forget that not everyone knows how to do this, and I need to back up and go a lot slower. So let me know if I need to back up or if you're with me, okay? So number one is the vision. Number two is defining the goal. With your long-term vision in mind, you're going to create a 12-week goal that is realistic but a stretch. Be mindful, tip right here, be mindful of the calendar and season of life, okay? So what season of life are you in? All automatically, because we're doing this in, like, this season that we're in now. It starts Monday. Thanksgiving is going to be there. Christmas is going to be there. What does your schedule normally look like? Do you have kids home? Is that good or is that bad? Like, you get to choose, like, your life is different than my life. And so maybe you have a vacation plan. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Be mindful of the season that you are in. How do you normally feel? One thing I just want to mention right now, because we talked a lot about grief yesterday. If like, you are in a grieving process and this is the first set of holidays without family, or a loved one that has passed, you want to be gentle with yourself. I just want you to know, like, you probably don't want to set a huge rock star goal. And I think I said this yesterday, but I'm going to repeat it again today for anyone who may have missed it. Like, I hope you set a goal that is to be nurturing to yourself. Like, what can you do during this time to really protect your mental health and just nurture you where you are, or just kind of help you in that journey of grief, because grief is hard. It is not linear at all. And so whether it is the first set of holidays or not, a lot of people, I know my stepdad, yesterday would have been his birthday, and he was always super grouchy around the holidays because he missed his mom and his dad. And so if that's something that you really struggle with, maybe you set a goal related on that. Like, how can I experience more joy during this time and not be such a grouch? Because he kind of was grouchy during this time. Like, he was like a bah humbug for sure, Scrooge all the way when it came to the holidays. And so, recognize how you are during that season, and know that maybe this is a time for you to do something to kind of counteract that. And but also recognize, like, if you are going to be struggling for this 2-week period, or this, like, the whole 12 weeks or whatever, just be gentle. Don't set the goals that you could do in a season where that's not. I know that normally right after Labor Day was the last time that I got to see my stepdad alive. And so my Facebook memories, actually it starts in July, because I went to see him when I had left a 31 conference. I went and saw him and he was in the hospital. And then I remember worrying that was going to be the last time I saw him. And then he lived long enough that I could see him again at Labor Day. And then Labor Day was the last time I saw him. So when my Facebook memories start in July showing me national conference, and then from national conference, I go to the hospital and I see him, like, all of those feelings come back. And so, and this year was better. But for so long, I did not recognize, like, I thought it was just me. I'm like, Melissa, suck it up. What is your problem? I didn't even realize that those memories, like, was affecting my mental health. Like, I was struggling and I had no idea why. So hopefully you can start connecting some of those dots and recognize that and give yourself grace in that, but also allow yourself to do something, whether it's just nurturing your soul during this time. Maybe, like, I think I talked yesterday, the things, to get you out of survival mode, those things will be beneficial for you during that time. Let's see. This will be 9 years, and I still know that I schedule nothing but family time for at least the 8th and the 22nd of November every year. We are setting up events at church that focus on grief and healing. I love that. Yeah, you have to, and if it's just one day, great. But if it's not just one day, I want you to know that that's okay. Just maybe put in some, like, alone time for you just to be still. Maybe something to honor that person. There's all kinds of different things you can do to help you feel better in that season. I've talked about this before. I don't know when I've talked about it recently, but I could not deal with, like, I was really struggling in the grieving process from my stepdad dying. He had raised me from, like, 4th grade on. And so it wasn't just like, oh, him and my mom got married 2 years later, he passed away. Like, he was like a dad to me. And so when he died, like, I really, really struggled, and I didn't know what to do with that. I didn't know what to do with it. He was the closest person I've ever had die, and I didn't know what to do with it. So I prayed about it. I'm like, God, what can I do? And so I ended up, because little things would really bother me, like just going to Walmart and seeing someone that wore, like, he golfed. And so he would always wear, like, his dress khakis, and he had, like, his little golf hat thing on. I don't know what those are called. So anytime I saw an older man with those pants on and that hat, like, it automatically reminded me of him, and I would become, like, speechless. Like, I mean, like, I couldn't talk, and all the emotion just kind of came. And so I was like, what can I do? So I ended up going and buying $5 gift cards from McDonald's. And I would give those to those people with a little note. That was it. And it worked. Like, I don't know what it helped me in the grieving process. I can't explain it, but I know it helped. And so, looking at some of those things that you could do, whether it's just writing a note. It doesn't have to even be a gift card. But I just thought of him of like getting coffee or something like that. And so I did that. And so think about like little things like that you could honor that is going to offset some of that emotion and kind of turn a negative into a positive, so to speak. Okay, so next, I want you to think about the roadmap and the actions that you're going to be taking. Define the highest priority actions required daily, weekly to reach your goal. Some actions may be repeating, while others only happen once. Specify the dates. Okay, so I want you to think about this because some of the, like, for example, my morning routine is a huge goal for me during those 12 weeks. Like, I want to master this routine and get way better. Like, it's about creating this habit of, because it's the first thing that goes when I'm struggling. Like today, yeah, I haven't had my protein drink, haven't even taken my medicine yet. I can't believe I just admitted that, but it's true. It's probably why I'm all snotty, starting to get snotty. It's because I was taking an allergy pill every day and I haven't taken it yet. So I want you to really think about like the habits, those habits of, like creating that morning routine. If that was a goal for you, like doing these things, like they're all things that are going to be done at the same time every single day or really close in order. Those are things that's going to be happening every day. Those are a lot easier to, first of all, neglect, because you're like, oh, I don't have to schedule that. No, I want you to freaking write it down every single day. I got a new planner. Where's it at? Did I not bring it out? I could have swore I brought it out. I got a new planner. This goes with the 12-week strategy really, really well. I saw that they have these on sale right now. It's from Michael Hyatt. I loved his book, Free to Focus, because I was struggling with focus. And so I finally bought this planner, and I am a girl who used to never use a planner. This is working for me, and I am shocked. It goes very well with the 12-week strategy because this is 90 days. And so I write in here every day, like, what did I do? What do I need to do? What worked? What didn't? It's really holding me accountable, and I don't make any money off of this, but I will say that there are some that are 25% off right now. So it makes them $33 instead of $50. So if you want to try a planner like this for the next 90 days, I definitely recommend it because you can put in those things and it actually helps you create that morning routine, the beginning of work routine, the evening routine, and the before you go to bed routine. Again, I'm not focusing on all those right now because I'm just trying to nail the first routine. Okay. That's where I'm at. And so, but I do recommend this. I think it comes in red and purple. Those are the ones that are on sale. So if you want a link for that, let me know. I'll share with you. Adrena, you got the student version. I didn't check out the student version, but I'm sure it is just as good. I did consider it for my kids, but I didn't end up going into that. So again, a lot of my coaching clients that work with me, one of the goals that I kind of highly encourage, because most of those that work with me are very ambitious and driven, and they can get so focused on conquering their goals that they forget to have fun and actually enjoy life. And so one of the goals I give them is like, create a goal to have fun. Excuse me. So how do you that is where you schedule, right? And so you're going to specify dates like, okay, this week we're going to play a board game or something like that. This week we're going to do this week is for me and my husband to do something. This week is for just me to do something. This week is for me and the kids to do something, and schedule those so that those days you're doing something fun. Sorry, y'all. So that's kind of the difference between the things that are every single day and the things that are dated. One of the things that I wanted to do, one of my goals has been to like get in front of new people. And so if I'm going to get in front of new people, maybe I need to go on some podcasts. Maybe I needed to create a podcast, which is coming. If you didn't know, it's launching really, really soon. It's called Priorities on Purpose. I have the first probably 8 episodes recorded now, and I'm super excited for its launch. Like, it's coming. Like, the goal is before November 1st. So just know it's coming really, really soon. But, whether it's to get out in front of new people and be a guest on other people's podcasts, like, there are things that you can do to do that. You don't just sit and wait for them to come to you. No, you got to reach out to other people. Maybe that's something that you do. You set a goal like, okay, I'm going to be on 5 episodes, 5 people's podcasts in the next 12 weeks. Okay. Well, then that's the goal. Then you would create the action plan. You would need to like research, or think about like, what do you want to talk about? Creating that. I actually have a masterclass that talks about this and like, how to create like a 1-pager so that you give them, because a lot of them will give you a form to fill out, and it's like, well, what questions do you want me to ask? What's your information? Do you have a photo? Like all this stuff. So I have a thing where it'll give you, first of all, I teach you what to do, and then I give you this form, and you can answer all of those questions ahead of time. And so when you go to fill one out, when someone says, yes, I'd love to have you on my podcast, it doesn't take you another month because you weren't prepared. So I kind of will help you do that, but that's just an example. Maybe you want to do Facebook Lives and just build authority in this time. If you want to create a nonprofit, probably going to need to build some authority and start talking about the thing that you want to talk about, because people need to know you know what you're talking about, right? And so that could be a goal of just talking about it on a regular basis. Maybe it's creating a business page. And so I want you to think about those goals, and then you create the action plan for the 12 weeks. And if you participate in the Breakthrough Challenge, you're actually going to get one of these. If you want it and don't actually participate in the challenge, I will probably still send you this, but actually, I'll probably put it on my blog. That's what I'll do. I'll put it on the blog because I'm doing the Breakthrough Challenge differently this time. So you will actually have a product that has a bunch of videos and pep talks and like how to brain dump, because that is something that I will tell you to do. Like, once you have your goal, you have to focus on the brain dumping process. What is a brain dump? You get it all out of your head onto paper. Maybe before you even set the goal, you brain dump. You're going to do lots of brain dumping. Okay. Like, you get it all out of your head, where you want to go, all that stuff. You just write it down. Like, these are all the things that I've been thinking about. And then you look at it and you assess, like, look for the lowest fruit, right? The easiest to pick. And so instead of having to get a ladder and go clear to the top, this fruit down here is way lower, way easier to pick. Let's start there. And then you're going to build off of one, because again, once we start this, like, we're not doing it one time. We're going to continue this process every 12 weeks. We do this. And before you know it, you're there. If you go back and listen to some of the laser coaching I've done, I did interviews with Nikki, Wendy, and Tammy. They were the first 3 to go through the Breakthrough Challenge process and this 12 weeks to success. And when they went through it the first time, we talked about it. And then I interviewed Tammy this last time because she wrote a devotional. Like, she didn't even know she wanted to do a devotional. And when we went through this process of brain dumping and what she kind of felt like she needed to do, what she was passionate about, what she felt like God would want her to do, and all of that, that was one of the things that came out of it, was a devotional. And so the first 12 weeks, she wrote the devotional. The second 12 weeks, she prepared and launched the devotional, and the devotional is now for sale. So you can go back and hear that story. You can hear Wendy's story, how she set up a coaching business. You can see Nikki's story, and just kind of, she does a podcast. She has a course. You can go back and look at all of those things. Nikki has been like focusing on decluttering and just taking care of herself. and saving money. Wendy also redid her kitchen and taxes. I think that was her first 3 goals. Getting her coaching business ready, her taxes, and remodeling her kitchen. So again, the goals can be anything. It doesn't have to be business related. And I don't really recommend it all being business related. You need to have one goal that is more holistic. Okay. And so, some of them, Dottie, she's on here. Her last challenge, she went through the breakthrough challenge. Hers was to save money. She saved $800, but in 12 weeks, just putting a certain amount from every paycheck in there. And again, that's something that some of them are like big and takes like a lot of steps and everything. And some of them aren't. You get to choose, and I will actually help you throughout this week. If you kind of have an idea on what you want, I will help you kind of figure out like, okay, if you're thinking about this, this, and this, I will probably be able to kind of see which would be the easiest for you. Some of you I don't know super well, so you're going to have to discern it kind of for yourself, but I will give my opinion and kind of help you figure that out if that helps. So if you guys have any questions, we are wrapping up. We're at 1 hour. If you have any questions, definitely let me know. I'm going to talk more about what the breakthrough challenge looks like tomorrow. I broke down the 12 weeks to success plan today. And so tomorrow we'll talk a little bit more about the breakthrough challenge, what it starts, what it's going to, all those details. I think it actually the card opens tomorrow. So the free version, we're doing it different. I did not feel like the free version worked, to be honest, guys. I just didn't. And so if you want to do it on your own, I totally get it. And I encourage you, if you cannot afford to pay $47, I think that's what it's going to cost to do the challenge at the minimum level. I definitely recommend you doing it on your own. And then participating in some of the free laser coaching that I offer. But the breakthrough challenge, there'll be the minimum level is $47. And that's going to get you all the videos. I think that even gets you the group coaching. You're going to get the worksheets. You're going to get everything you need to really take this and own it. And then there is a higher level that is going to be, I think you get group coaching with the basic. And then we're keeping the platinum level, and the platinum is like Voxer access to me, accountability, where I check in with you every single week and say like, hey, how's it going? What are you doing? Like you're going to have someone to answer to, because that was another big piece during the last breakthrough challenge where other people, everyone's going through their own things, and that accountability was really hard for people who didn't already know each other. And so the ball was kind of dropped in that when we left it for group members to hold each other accountable. And so the platinum version, I'm your accountability. I'm checking in with you weekly. And so if you don't do your work, you're going to hear regardless, you're going to tell me it was awesome, or you're going to tell me you're failing. Regardless, we're going to have an opportunity to talk it out, and you'll have voice memo capability. So we're going to be talking back and forth, and then you'll have the opportunity to upgrade for one-on-one coaching and literally work with me every single week for 30 minutes plus Voxer on the side, or voice memoing and Messenger, whichever I prefer Voxer personally. But I know some of you don't have room in your phone for another app. So I'm willing to do Messenger if you must. Okay. If you must. But that you'll get 30 minutes of coaching with me every week, where we really drill down to like, where are you at, where you need to go this week, what's your plan, and how can I help you in that? And so, sometimes you just need someone to hold your hand while you do it. Sometimes you need someone to check all the wording and, how do I create an email list? How do I do this? Or how do I do that? Like, I will literally walk you through it. Wendy's on here. She will tell you, like, she had to create a link tree. She created her website. Those are some of the things that she has done. We had a call yesterday, and